been here in the Alamo Dome. The first time the United States have played in San Antonio since 1996. To give you some context, that was a build-up match for those famous Atlanta Olympics, which very much put the U.S. women on the map of the American sporting landscape. They played Sweden that day. One of the players for Sweden, Pia Sundhage, former U.S. national team coach. Her last match in charge of the U.S. was against these Australians in those friendlies last year. It's a big crowd that's made their way out. A rare opportunity to see the U.S. women here in San Antonio. They'll have a pair of matches next week against New Zealand. They'll wrap up 2013 next month in Orlando, where they'll play Brazil, number 4 in the world rankings. That'll be ending the year with a bang for sure. This is the beginning of a camp and the beginning of a journey. That's what Lauren Holiday told us. The beginning of a match against a team, as you heard from Kate Markgraf, that could give the United States some trouble, perhaps, with their speed and with their physicality. Let's listen in as they're welcomed by the thousands in attendance here at the Alamo Dome today. The United States and Australia, international friendly here from San Antonio, Texas. And we'll hear the national anthems from both countries coming up next. And the final push for the playoffs on NBC-SN. Time now for national anthems here in San Antonio, U.S. and Australia.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise and remove your hats for the playing of the national anthem of Australia, followed by the national anthem of the United States of America, performed by Tejano recording artist Patsy Torres.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled o'er the land of the free and the home of the
The Matildas have waltzed into San Antonio. Can they give the United States some trouble? We'll find out with kickoff coming up next.
Start up like this, or like this, and hit the start button to flip back and forth. You can make the important thing.
Moments from the start here in San Antonio, the United States and Australia in this international friendly. Kate Markgraf watching for us between the benches. Kate, who should we be looking out for in this match today?
Well, for the United States, you have to watch out for number 13, Alex Morgan. This is her first game back coming after sustaining a knee injury. Let's see if she can still go brave into tackles and do her well-timed runs behind the back line. And for Australia, you have to talk about number 11, Lisa DeVanna, the fastest player in the world. She has blistering speed, and if she's able to turn on you, she can run past the entire American back line.
Kate, the U.S. being coached by Tom Sermanni, you think it'd be easy in charge of the best national team in the world, but of course he's got to figure out a formation, a system, and a starting 11 in any given game, coaching against his former side today, Australia, who are now under the charge of Hesterine de Rouse, the former Dutch international, former head coach of Jordan, took over in this last year and very much still trying to put her imprint on this Australia team. Carrie Seitz, our referee today, her farewell match, 28 years as a referee, and she will bow out after this one today. It's the United States in white, Australia in yellow. We are underway. It's the beginning of a journey, said Lauren Holiday. A journey that will continue into next November with World Cup qualifiers, a journey which will conclude in Canada in the summer of 2015 as the United States tries to win another FIFA Women's World Cup. It's the first of 3 matches in just about a week for the U.S. after a 6-week break following the end of the NWSL season. Kate, what's something else we could be looking for early on, particularly with Australia? How will they want to start this match? As first of all, Sydney Leroux on the end of an Abby Wambach knockdown. Her cross not fully clear, but Australia will scramble that away. Is that an example of what Australia have to deal with today?
Well, they're going to have to deal with a lot of speed and power with Sydney Leroux out on the left lane. But Australia, their philosophy and style as a whole is to win the ball up higher on the field, put the United States under unbelievable pressure, both individually and collectively as a team, by closing down space and getting closer to them.
This is the 25th all-time meeting between the United States and Australia. They played twice in friendlies last year, and Australia actually led in both those games, but as you can see, very much one-sided towards the United States. They have never lost to the Matildas, a team that has not qualified for the last 2 Olympics, but those are the quarterfinals of the 2011 World Cup as Holiday's taken down. Our first free kick of the game. Looking quickly. Towards Morgan. Cleared only as far as Becky Sauerbrunn, who would come forward for that set piece and didn't have anywhere else to go. Sauerbrunn, the NWSL Defender of the Year this season at FC Kansas City, but take it away. Try to start on the break, and danger here. Crystal Dunn tracking back. Lisa DeVanna is in, and Lisa DeVanna saved by Hope Solo. Touching it off the bar and out for a corner.
I doubt Crystal Dunn has ever played against a player that might be faster than her. I talked earlier about Lisa DeVanna's speed. On a quick transition, the United States is 2-on-2 in the back, not an ideal. But look at the speed of DeVanna. Crystal Dunn, second fastest player on the United States national team behind Christy Rampone. And Lisa DeVanna outran her and got on her left foot, which is her desired foot, forcing Hope Solo to make a save.
DeVanna scored in both of those friendlies against the U.S. last fall. It'll be Katrina Gorey, the 21-year-old from Brisbane, to send it in. Dunn heading to the edge of the box. Australia will hold it in. Cross from the left, knocked down, not fully clear. The shot, big block in there by Sauerbrunn. Making Klingenberg now. Well, that was blocked in. Australia coming out with a lot of energy right now. Very much in their offseason as well. In fact, the Australian W League, in which most of these players play, has been off since January. They're beginning the season in just a couple of weeks. Here's Crystal Dunn now, the senior at North Carolina, coming forward. A long cross, finds Abby Wambach in the box, trying to bring it down. Good defending, though. Tegan Allen, they're defending. Went the other way by Whitney Engen. Klingenberg, one of a number of players who plays for Tyresö in Sweden. 5 Americans on that Swedish team. 4 of them are going to be in this camp at one point or another. Played forward, Alex Morgan to the byline, rolls all the way through. And now for a goal kick. Morgan is, you heard there, suffering that sprained knee late in the season with the Portland Thorns at NWSL. Ended up returning in the final to help them to the championship. Told us it probably wasn't the smartest thing to play in that game. Ended up extending her rehab to about 6 to 8 weeks. In fact, Wednesday of this week was her first full training session. Did say that she had no hesitancy out there and felt good.
I did have the opportunity to watch her train yesterday, and there was a hesitancy a month ago when I watched her play in the pregame training before the NWSL championship you were referring to. She couldn't fully extend her leg when she was trying to kick. She wasn't accelerating, but yesterday in training, she was very brave going into tackles. In fact, going into a challenge with a keeper that Nicole Barnhart actually had to pull out of because she was worried about the tackle, but not Alex Morgan. So I do believe she's 100% healthy, both body-wise, but also mentally.
It was Heather O'Reilly who took the knock there, and a set-piece chance for the United States. Sauerbrunn driving it into the box. Put her back. The follow-up is a goal. It's Holiday. Full volley for the top of the box, and the U.S. on the board first.
The United States is so dangerous on the set piece because everyone is concentrating on number 20, Abby Wambach. The ball gets served into the 6, and Lauren Holiday took a couple steps back, got her balance, which allowed her to get control on the volley. Look at this, it bounces back up. Look at her, takes a couple back steps, reads the flight of the ball, which allows her to get the accurate strike on it. Lydia Williams, the goalkeeper for Australia, didn't get a clear side of the ball. She's actually known for her extension, her explosion, and her reach. I think she didn't see the ball until too late.
And it looked like Tamika Bunt as well, got a bit of a touch, but for Lauren Holiday, her 21st international goal in her 92nd appearance for the United States. And we heard her in the pregame talk about getting her love for the game back. As Dunn sends it in for the onrushing Holiday, it's going to be cleared away.
It is a different Lauren Holiday. I knew her obviously as Cheney, and the quality has always been there. Her vision, her playmaking, the weight she puts on balls when she passes. It's been a whole nother year, a different ball game, a different level of play on a consistent basis. She's been demonstrating this entire year.
Out for a goal kick there is Giroux Holiday, point guard for the New Orleans Pelicans. He and Lauren tying the knot over the summer. Those two met at UCLA. Again, one of a number of very good options that Tom Sermanni has to pick from in any given game. See how Australia responds to going down after that early opportunity that Savannah had, forcing the save from Hope Solo. This is Tegan Allen, their right back, one of 2 teenagers on the back line for Australia in this game. Allen continuing the run, broken up by LaRue, and then Klingenberg comes to get it. Allback brings it down. Back for Sydney LaRue. As Holiday running with her, elects to go all the way wide for Dunn, and the big run from her right back position. That's cross blocked out. Part of that number 4 North Carolina team in action today, in fact, against number 1 Virginia. And each of those schools have their stars with the U.S. Today's Dunn drives towards the byline. Her cross takes a deflection. It'll be a U.S. corner.
Crystal Dunn can play anywhere. I've seen her play attacking center mid in college. I've seen her play up front, and she's more comfortable at the international level, I think, on the outside right back. And you get to see why she's able to attack that space and make herself dangerous out on the flanks.
All the Australian players in the 18-yard box to defend this as Holiday drives it in. Wambach got her head to it, and it's going to be comfortably out for a goal kick.
Now, if I'm Australia, I'd want to reorganize and kind of put the light back on in terms of focus on set pieces. Right now, that's been 2 open headers that the United States have had. The first one, which led to the goal for the United States, and that one. Right now, there's no one on Abby Wambach. It doesn't appear that they're zoning, so it looks like either they're losing their marks or just a lack of concentration.
You have to imagine how frustrating it is for DeRouse, the coach. You spend all this time game planning, preparing, and then 6 minutes in, you give up a goal, and it's almost like everything's out the window, and you have to start again, as that's an errant pass from Alway.
Well, it's not ideal, but it's a great situation to grow from and to learn and to fight your way back in. And if they can fight their way back in, what a confidence booster for these young, inexperienced players.
World Cup qualifiers as well coming up in the spring. The Asian Cup in Vietnam, though 5 of the 8 teams at the Asian Cup will get into the World Cup, so the odds are stacked in their favor as Morgan's header is beyond Sidney Leroux. There you see Allen, 19 years old again. Both outside backs for Australia are teenagers. She's just joining the Western Sydney Wanderers, the hot new team in Australia, both on the men's and women's side. Time for a U.S. throw, and Tamuka Butt just took a bit of a knock there. Quickly back in from Morgan, hitting it on the volley, and it's a comfortable save for Lydia Williams. Who looks to start the counter quickly. Good turn on the outside. Lisa DeVanna, Dunn trying to catch up to her. Just got caught in the spokes. Holiday now trying to spring Heather O'Reilly on the outside. O'Reilly able to get past 1. O'Reilly able to get past 2. O'Reilly's cross is blocked. Will have another U.S. corner as Heather O'Reilly involved in the attacking end for the first time.
What excellent defending for number 4, Claire Polkinghorne from Australia. You see the balls starting on the width. That is where most of the play is coming from the United States, where they're finding success. But look at this last-ditch effort from Claire Polkinghorne. As a goalkeeper and as a team that has got to pump you up, someone laying their body on the line to prevent a cross into the box.
O'Reilly playing with the Boston Breakers in NWSL this year. Holiday takes the corner. And it's going to come all the way through there. She last off Australia for a U.S. throw. Carly Lloyd closest to it. The Olympic hero from last year in London. It's Klingenberg now. Klingenberg's cross is dealt with by Williams. Lydia Williams, the Australia goalkeeper from the west of Australia, very remote region, very small town nearby to Perth. Plays her soccer now just south of the Arctic Circle, so has lived on opposite ends of the spectrum, really, in the globe. The goalkeeper, Williams, her father, Aboriginal Australian, her mother is American, so she has some family watching this game today. Lloyd unable to connect with Wambach, who takes a hard challenge there by Elise Kellen Knight, and quickly over the top, offside, DeVanna.
That's a trend that you're going to see more and more often. The United States as a whole, not only do they want their outside backs going forward, number 2, they want to hold their defensive line higher so that you'll make the opponents have better time runs. Their runs have to be perfect so they're not running themselves offside.
Alway playing straight down the middle, easily dealt with Whitney Engen. U.S. without one of their regulars today, Christy Rampone, just coming back off of minor knee surgery the day after that match against Mexico. Expect her to be available for the rest of this week of games and going into the Brazil match. When he intercepts that pass out wide. Good step to take it away by Lloyd. Heavy first touch, able to recover. Carly Lloyd looking to cut back. Good defending by Kellen Knight. But comes to get it, but her clearance straight out. LaRue off the throw. Lloyd, O'Reilly has Dunn on the outside. Crystal Dunn again driving, finds space for that cross. Lost her footing. U.S. will keep it. Here's Morgan. Takes a block, falls for Carly Lloyd on her left. Sensational goal. to the United States.
Again, it starts on the flank. That is where the U.S. is creating all these opportunities. The ball gets sent across. And then look at Carly Lloyd. She looks up, and she just goes straight into that space, hits it perfectly one time while the ball is dropping, so she's able to keep it low. Look at her. She gets her shoulder square, her hip square around the ball. Lydia Williams, the goalkeeper Australia, had no chance.
USA.
Hit that ball about as well as you can. She said Williams didn't even move. And Carly Lloyd, the scorer of the game-winning goals in the last two Olympic finals. Goal 45 of her international career, and less than a quarter hour on the board. This is not how Australia drew it up. They are 2-0 down, and the U.S. is surging. Morgan back for Holiday. Dances off the ball, shrugs off the tackle. Dunn will use her speed to catch up to that pass out wide. Devanna defending. Shoulder to shoulder. Linesman will flag for a foul against the U.S. Lloyd was with Western New York Flash this year. 10 goals and 17 in the league, including both in the win of the semifinal. Western New York eventually fell to Portland in the NWSL final this year. Well, and Kate, for a U.S. team that maybe wasn't entirely sure about the fitness, hasn't been together for a while, fairly decent start for them, it's fair to say.
Absolutely. He was worried about, Coach Tom Sermani, that is the he I was referring to, he was worried about how this team would gel because they haven't had the normal preparation that they've been accustomed to. They haven't been able to reestablish the philosophy that they want to play. Right now, I think what you're seeing is excitement and joy to play soccer again. They had a 6-week break. They're excited to play together with quality players and get ready for the journey that Lauren Holiday was talking about.
Over the top for Klingenberg to chase. To defend that was Polkinghorn and out. Klingenberg, one of those 5 on the Swedish team Tyresö that clinched second in the league, had their final match earlier today without their contingent. Klingenberg again. One of their teammates, Marta, who will undoubtedly play for Brazil against the U.S. in a couple of weeks. Lloyd pressured, able to keep it. Stephanie Catley trying to start the attack for Australia. Catley's early ball, too far for anyone.
What I'd like to see from Australia right now is for them to hold on to the ball a little bit. Keep a couple passes here and there and then spring a player forward. I know that they see a huge gap open for the United States behind their back line to hit it. But right now, keep the ball a little bit. Stop playing defense so much. Catch your breath and try to find a rhythm.
They'll try to play direct. Katie Gill able to bring it down. The big target forward. Ellen Knight plays it wide. Devanna comes to get it. Catley, the left back on the overlap, and well broken up by Crystal Dunn. And she's a collegiate player at North Carolina, holding her own very well. The return from Wambach. Crystal Dunn, target screaming into the box for the United States. Morgan couldn't get enough behind it. Well, it's a rare starting 11 for the U.S. Sydney Leroux is in it, not just for that, but the fact that all 3 of Leroux, Morgan, and Wambach starting together for the very first time. They had played together for just an hour of total time in the last 2 years before today, and you see their strike rates. What's remarkable is that Leroux, who's almost exclusively been a sub in her time with the U.S., is scoring at a higher rate per minute than either Wambach, the all-time international leader, or Alex Morgan, who's a good bet to potentially take that record for her own one day. And Kate, you talked about this a little bit, but the way that Leroux has really just emerged and almost forcing her way onto this field despite that most dangerous strike partnership in women's soccer.
Well, Coach Tom Sermani is in the enviable position of having so much depth. Who do you start? How do you put all this talent together? And every single one of them makes a case for their role every time they step on the field. Last time Sydney Leroux started with Abby Wambach was in September, and she scored 4 goals when Alex Morgan was hurt. So I think that is, as much as it's a gift, it's also going to be a huge challenge for head coach Tom Sermani, is how he's going to balance it all, keep them all happy, and keep them all in form come the World Cup.
Going forward here for Australia is Katrina rather, and it's going to be last off of Holiday, and Australia with their second corner of the match. The U.S. will retreat, all but Alex Morgan to defend this. It'll be Gorey to take, as played all 9 of her international games in the year. Hope Solo with 1 save already on that early chance. Solo tracking this uncontested catch. Quickly thrown out for Heather O'Reilly. Being chased the whole way by Polkinghorn. Was able to hold her up momentarily. Ball back. Morgan has LaRue trying to hold her line. It's a good tackle, though, to knock it away. Now space and time the other way. Here's Gorey for Australia. Has willing runners. Sending it backside to Vanna. Lines it up. Done the defender to Vanna. Save once again by Solo. Just in case anyone forgot in the last 6 weeks that Hope Solo's probably the best goalkeeper in the world. 2 early saves here to deny Lisa DeVanna.
Well, that save will remind you, but what I also like is the extra protection she had from her defenders. They weren't ball watching. The minute the shot went off, they were recovering back, looking for that deflection. I like that habit.
Now run over the top, wall back to flick. Morgan on the end of it, hits of a handball. We play on, though Australia protesting, and now the whistle goes. And it will be a handball to go the other way.
We can see the excellent tackle, and here's where it all starts. Gorey, an under-19 player, picks her head up, sees the open gap out wide, but Lisa DeVanna, look at that touch. Totally takes the momentum away from Crystal Dunn and able to get it on frame, causing Hope Solo to make a full extended low save.
Solo, who missed half of the season this year with the Seattle Reign after wrist surgery. Of course, is with the Seattle Sounders women 2 seasons ago, so very much in her home state, becoming a big professional star as Wambach knocks it away out for a goal kick. And again, to this point we were talking about earlier, Kate, of these 3 tremendous attacking players and perhaps finding a way now to get LaRue onto the field is, oh, by the way, Kristen Press, the former Herman Trophy winner at Stanford, banging on the door on the outside. The first American to ever lead the Swedish league in goal scoring. Has been lighting it up over there. And she's done very well early on in her national team career as well. So, as you said, it's an embarrassment of riches, but it's also a bit of a headache to figure out who needs to be on the field when on any given day.
Well, it is an incredible predicament, but who says they're going to stay in a 4-4-2? Right now, he has said he's not going to make any tactical changes because he wants to evaluate everybody with the same playing field. So right now, he's just evaluating talent. He's seeing who's going to be in his pool, who's going to choose to develop over the next year, and that's going to be going on for the next 3 months.
Trying to settle the game back down after a couple good Australia opportunities. Engen coming forward. Klingenberg. Klingenberg has it back from Holiday. Now LaRue. Becky Sauerbrunn, all the U.S. players in the attacking half right now. Kate, this looks to be like what Tom Sermanni wants from this team, changing the style a bit, keeping it on the ground, as it's given away, unfortunately, by Heather O'Reilly.
That is the ideal because everyone knows they've got speed, power, and strength.
Well, here's Morgan, who has those qualities in abundance. Her shot right to Lydia Williams.
That's a good hold by Australian keeper Lydia Williams. But the United States, when you talk about the United States to anyone else in the world, they talk about their speed, their power, and their strength. But one thing head coach Tom Sermanni said to me was, I didn't know how good technically they were. And that's one thing I want to bring out of this team on a more consistent basis, which will make us much more dangerous, is expressing that.
Lisa DeVanna on the end of the through ball, offside. Flag is up. Dunn getting in there right at the last moment, too. We just wonder what Carrie Science would have thought of that tackle had it been allowed to continue. Good work by Gorey there to start that sequence.
Gorey, again, picking out the right pass. Look at that. She sees the space, plays in between the gaps of Dunn and Engen, and plays it right through. Unfortunately, Lisa DeVanna mistimes her run.
3rd time we've seen DeVanna create opportunities like that. How does the U.S. solve that problem defensively?
I think they're actually solving it right now. She keeps running off sides. But Lisa Savannah is a smart player and will figure it out. And remember, they're in preseason right now a little bit. She has to find her timing again, which will come as the game goes on.
Klingenberg's cross flicked on by Morgan. LaRue trying to get there, keeps it in play, and it's just clear to the last moment. Catley coming across. And now Australia again on the counter. Gorey feeding it through. Klingenberg knocks it away. Holiday on the turn. Directing traffic for LaRue. Gets it back, Holiday. Wambach and Morgan weren't looking for it. That was an attempt to go quickly for Devanna, but missed hit there by Gorey. Klingenberg charging forward up the left. The early cross beyond the targets. Williams looking to pump quickly. Sauerbrunn wins the header. Lloyd the second ball. Gorey there with the challenge on Carly Lloyd, out for a U.S. throw. Lloyd 159th appearance for the United States in this game. As Holiday gets on the end of that throw, plays it all the way across for Heather O'Reilly. O'Reilly has options either side. She'll look to run her defender. O'Reilly to the byline. O'Reilly's cross blocked away. And it's a U.S. corner. Stephanie Catley, the other 19-year-old on the back line, defending that. And again, everyone for Australia will retreat for this as Holiday comes across to take it. Elects to go quick for Morgan. And for Holiday, trying to get in and over. Holiday, who made her debut for the U.S. as a freshman at UCLA, 19 years old, approaching 100 caps now. Was the MVP of NWSL this year, Golden Boot winner as well. And made the interesting point to us, Kate, it was really the first time, at least in a long time, that she's been the go-to player, that she's had a team built around her, in contrast to trying to fit in a lot of ways to this U.S. national team. As quickly, it's Gorey again trying to send Devanna through. Solo stays at home. Lisa Devanna denied for a third time.
Gorey, again, picking her head up, looking for the gap. Devanna times her run so well this time. Forcing a kick save from Hope Solo. Hope Solo is going towards her near post, and then Devanna isn't able to get just a bit wide of her. But Devanna's always playing on that edge. Sometimes she's going to be offside, like we've seen a couple times today, but sometimes it's going to create opportunities like that.
30 goals for Australia, but having a hard time getting to 31 as the corner comes in. Knocked away by Holiday. Foot race to the second ball. Shot was blocked by Klingenberg. LaRue challenging. And Klingenberg will just clear. Morgan will actually race that ball down like it was going to be going out, and forcing a clearance there by Tegan Allen as Australia will make a substitution here less than 30 minutes into the game. Michelle Heyman coming off. And Samantha Kerr, who had a fantastic year scoring goals for Western New York Flash. Lydia Williams, the goalkeeper, saying Kerr really made her name this year playing in the U.S. and the 20-year-old is on fairly early here.
Well, I talked to the head coach, Hesrine DeRoos, yesterday. She said, oh, she's got a bit of a knock, but they're going to bring her on a little bit earlier than I thought. So that signs to me that she's in recovery. But this is a player who loves to take people on 1v1. But also, there's no intimidation factor with her. She's played for the NWSL, had an excellent season with Abby Wambach and Carly Lloyd with the New York Flash. And this is a player that can score goals and create opportunities for other players.
Has been playing for Australia since she was 15 as Morgan gets on the end of the header from Wambach. Her cross for O'Reilly, trying to control it. No handball in the end. LaRue's shot is blocked. Australia was appealing there. Sides thought about it. Shot blocked in the end by Allen. And out for a U.S. corner.
So much of the attack from the United States is coming from their midfield, from their forward. Remember, they're playing as Australia's 3. That numbers of advantage is creating all these opportunities for the United States.
Lydia Williams getting set for this. Holiday, the in-swinger, headed away right on the doorstep. That was Gill, the forward tracking back. U.S. keeps it in. Lloyd on the far side, past one, pass to the shot through traffic, saved. He's looking to go quick. Uncontested header by Sauerbrunn. Right to the feet of O'Reilly. Holiday couldn't quite control it. Savannah now. Gorey's been so involved early on, but has her pocket picked by Carly Lloyd. LaRue, Holiday, good control. Thinking about the shot, perhaps. Lauren Holiday elects to go wide for O'Reilly. On to her left, O'Reilly clips it in. Williams, a diving punch. Wambach back in and just wide.
Again, service from a wide position. Lydia Williams comes out bravely and punches away. Not sure she could hold on to it, but Wambach attempting to do it by just nearly misses the goal. My question is, where's the man marking from Australia? Once the ball comes past you, the defenders need to stay focused, put a body on. I'm always the fan that when you're in your 18-yard box, it doesn't matter zonal defending. That goes out the window. Instead, you get touch tight, put a hand on a player, and don't let them go.
Quickly, Australia again. Devanna running forward, has options either side. This is Katrina Gorey. Gorey shooting from distance, but it slices well wide. Well, credit to Katrina Gorey, this 21-year-old. Just her 9th international appearance. Scored goals against France and the Netherlands in the European Tour. Australia had a big upset, 2-0 win over France just before the European Championships. And again, with Australia, less than 2 years to go until the World Cup. So many young players with confidence that has to give them hope that they could be a troublemaker in the World Cup in Canada.
Absolutely. I mean, this is a team for the future. They're giving these players the experience now against the #1 team in the world, because they're hoping that'll pay dividends come Asian qualifying, come the World Cup, so that they can improve on their previous performances. And they have so many young players, but a testament to Gorey is she's done so well in the W League, always a consistent force for her team, and that's earned herself a starting spot.
Gill brings it down, feeds it for Devanna, who again found the seam for Gorey, just poked away at the last by Becky Sauerbrunn. Kerr, the substitute, keeps it in. Kerr crosses in solo. Right at her crossbar there, it's over and out for a goal kick. You know, we talked about this earlier, but Kate, how is Lisa Devanna always finding these spaces to grab the ball and cause problems for the U.S.?
One, it's the quality of the ball that she's given. It's been weighted properly. But two, when she has stayed onside, she's keeping far enough away from the United States defender, Crystal Dunn, and she's timing it perfectly to run onto it with momentum. If I'm Crystal Dunn, I need to get closer to her. And also, I need to have Becky Sauerbrunn come and support me a little bit more and close down that gap.
O'Reilly for Morgan. Trying to keep it in play, he can't do so. Morgan had told us the two things she's really trying to work on right now, just in case she hasn't done enough yet, is she was the second ever American last year to have 20 goals and 20 assists. Heading, she said, and getting off that quick shot, trying to surprise goalkeepers with her quick release. And that's a frightening thing to think about, Kate, is you have Alex Morgan, one of the best players in the world, and all she's really focused on is how can I get better, how can I improve?
Well, that's why she is one of the best in the world, is because of that desire.
Gorey's long switch done, flags up for offside. You can see that happening in slow motion, and Devanna really upset that she strayed behind, and she's going to get a talking to from Carrie Seitz, the referee, about it.
And Lisa Devanna knows that. I've played against Lisa Devanna a ton of times. Carrie Seitz has actually refed games that Devanna has played in, and that's just her frustration coming out. She is an emotional player, but that's why she is so dangerous. But sometimes she gets frustrated and shows itself just like that.
And again, it's a great test for Crystal Dunn, part of the team that won the Under-20 World Cup for the U.S., but still a college player. This is a step up perhaps than what she's used to.
Oh, absolutely. She has never faced someone of that quality and that speed.
Well, here's Samantha Kerr driving forward, able to get it away in the double team. Gorey once again involved now. As support, drops it back for Tamika Butt. Kerr the touch all the way back out wide, and that was overhit by Kellen Knight.
The thing for Australia, what their players told us, what the coach says, is we're trying to adapt an entire new style. They call it total football, the Dutch style, where the backs play to the midfield then plays it to the forwards. We haven't seen that much, but that's when the errant balls go out of bounds. This team has technique. To me, it's just a team trying to figure out how to accommodate the system and the style of play that their coach desires.
Is that universal across women's soccer right now? More and more teams tactically and technically improving their level, and in a lot of ways catching up to the U.S.?
They have to, because teams are becoming so well organized defensively, you can't break them down consistently with just speed and power. You're going to need to learn how to have technique, have the tactics, be able to play the ball on the ground, 1- and 2-touch, and that gives that little bit of surprise that can make you unpredictable, and then that can unorganize defenses and unlock them and create more opportunities.
Certainly part of the reason why Tom Sermanni's making that such a priority right now for the U.S. ahead of the next World Cup, to make sure that they're improving in that part of the game as well. Minutes to go before halftime. Lauren Holiday and Carly Lloyd both on volleys from the top of the box. The goals today, not for lack of trying by Australia. They've been held out so far. 3 big saves by Hope Solo to keep it at a 0 for them. So it was knocked away by Polkinghorn, able to keep it in play as well. And Buck clears only as far as Carly Lloyd for the U.S. Lloyd going to pick out LaRue. It's a bit behind her. LaRue gets it back for the unrushing Klingenberg, and good defending by Samantha Kirk. Gorey couldn't touch it past Whitney Engen. Katie Gill the target forward, and the challenge there was Sauerbrunn. Big gap though between her and everyone else for Australia as they were pinned back defensively.
Australia's trying to prevent the United States from getting in behind them.
O'Reilly trying to find Morgan, headed away, all the way out for a U.S. corner.
And when they're trying to prevent them from getting behind them, which means their entire team is holding back, they're trying to condense the space between the goalkeeper and their back line. That's why there's so much space in front of them, and why the United States is able to set play.
5th corner of the match for the United States. And O'Reilly this time to take. Made her debut for the U.S. in 2002 as a 17-year-old high school junior. And O'Reilly drives in the corner. Back to the top of the box. Going to be 3 for 3 on volleys. Klingenberg this time trying and pulls it wide.
She's a little disappointed in her chance. Megan Klingenberg was an alternate in the 2012 Olympics team. And she's getting more and more call-outs with Tom Sermanni. What he's looking for in the back are technical players that can move the ball forward, especially their outside backs. Megan Klingenberg, like Heather Relly, has a huge engine, can get up and down the field, huge work rate, and she's getting an opportunity to showcase her quality tonight.
Just her 5th game for the U.S. is Dunn and O'Reilly combined to break up that Australia attack. And here's Dunn again. Ball to both ends of the field, very much lovely ball, slip it through. O'Reilly now sets it up, crosses in, it's one back right to Williams. U.S. again cleaning up the attempt for the long ball forward. Alamo was scoring about 40% of all of her goals with her head. Another opportunity perhaps with her feet here to get on the end of that ball. Battling hard with Alway, who does just enough, the defender. Gorey was looking like it was going to be for Devana, but well done by Lauren Holiday to knock it away. Engen. It's around Gill, who got enough of her on the way through. Take a look back at this chance.
You get to see the right flank again. Such a dangerous part of the United States game. Heather Riley times her run perfectly, picks her head up, is able to find Abby Wambach, serves that ball a little bit back and away from the goal so Abby Wambach can readjust and get some power on it. Unfortunately, not accurate enough away from the keeper. An easy save for Lydia Williams. 9
goals in 10 games this year for the U.S., including breaking Mia Hamm's all-time international record for men or women back in June in New York. Rankin looking over the top from Morgan. Controls the edge of the area. Alex Morgan's cross takes a deflection dangerously. Wambach couldn't catch up to it, but it'll be a U.S. corner. Morgan, who was just as prolific assisting goals as she was scoring them last year. Starting that attack. Taken quickly. Holiday turns, clips it in. And her straight up in the air. LaRue was closest to it. Australia able to get it out. The entire roster for both teams is in the Australian defensive half right now. LaRue in a big battle with Allen for that. 19-year-old doing well to knock it away. Has to get back up, though. Still work to be done as it's thrown in for Morgan. Gorey. That was Butt, rather, who intercepted it. Clears it out. U.S. a second chance to get it back in. Holiday. Lovely turn. Lays it off. Morgan's cross is behind for a goal kick, and it was offside anyway, in fact, on Alex Morgan.
What I think has been difficult for Australia to handle is because there's so much interchange of the players that you have 4 players on the front line for the United States. Look at Lauren Cheney, able to sense where pressure is and spin out of it. She knew someone was on the inside, so she can take it with her right. The reason why she's so dangerous is she can equally take that with her left and then have control enough to deliver a properly weighted ball to somebody else who has a better look at the goal. But that's why she's there. That's why she has been so dominant. She's been doing that, whether it's in her own team's 18 or all the way up on that side. She's just been taking over games this entire year with her skill, with moments like that.
Looking for options and didn't see Samantha Kerr charging her down. She had her head up looking at O'Reilly. Kerr quickly the other way as Devana making the run. Crosses in. Devana, a touch from Crystal Dunn. A header from Klingenberg to the top of the box. Butt fires in, and it's a deflection out and away. Sauerbrunn got out of the way, but it's out for an Australia corner.
That all started because Australia was defensively organized in a way where Whitney Engen had no options. Let the ball get away from her a little bit when she was trying to set play. Look at Sam Kerr forcing the American defender closer to her. Crystal Dunn gets a touch in it. But Tamika Butt times this perfectly, waits for the ball to drop a little bit, and then a lucky save, deflection by Sauerbrunn, allows the United States to reorganize.
And you wonder where that was going if not for Sauerbrunn. 4th corner of the game taken short, not on the same page, though. And the U.S. clears to midfield. Polkinghorn, the center back, has stayed forward, sending it in, solo tracking, has the catch, takes the bump in the end from Gill. Won't trouble her too much. Okay, give credit to this Australia side. We talked about it. They had the one early opportunity, then boom, 2 goals against. They haven't given up. They haven't folded. They've been giving the U.S. a lot of trouble as this half has gone on.
They have, and the place where they have the most depth is up front. They have so many options, and they're all quality options. Kate Gill, 5'11", big, strong player, can go up in the air. And then you've seen the quality of Lisa Devana and her speed and her touch. And now Sam Kerr. If you're Australia's head coach, you have to be excited about the future because of all the options you have up top.
Center back Becky Sauerbrunn weaving her way through the midfield. Hands off from Morgan. Morgan now LaRue, switched to the right side. Arade's on the left. Those two can't complete the combination. It's cleared away. Lloyd trying to pick out O'Reilly, and well dealt with by Tegan Allen. Lloyd elected to keep it in play. Lovely touch to find Heather O'Reilly. Left on that for Lloyd. Knocked away by Butt. Here come the Australians again. Kerr just onside, despite the appeals from the defender. Kerr crossing in. Dunn off for thigh. Only as far as Gorey. Her volley, an easy save for Hope Solo. Fourth save of the game for Solo. The easiest of the four. O'Reilly just kept that in play. Morgan now off the throw. Morgan charging in. They give her the space. Morgan's cross just too tall for Wambach. LaRue keeps it in. LaRue a heavy touch, and it's cleared away. Dunn keeps it back in. Lloyd, Holiday, and cleared out wide by Tamika Butt. Savannah, you hear how hard she's working to try to get there. It's out for a U.S. throw. Final minute, plus whatever stoppage time here in this first half. Holiday, shadow the whole way. Here from downstairs of about 1 minute extra. On the watch of referee Kerry Sykes here once we hit the 45. Sydney LaRue plays it back for Dunn. Sauerbrunn, Carly Lloyd. Lloyd cuts back. Lloyd, edge of the area for LaRue. Well intercepted there. Polkinghorn stepping up. 1 minute stoppage time here at the end of the half as Kerr tries to accelerate away from Klingenberg. Able to get the cross away. And Sauerbrunn comfortable enough to deal with it. Just in front of Katie Gill. O'Reilly now. She'll accelerate away from Tegan Allen. O'Reilly with options in the box. O'Reilly driving inside. O'Reilly back to her left. The cross knocked away. Second chance at it here. 30 seconds or so in this first half. Holiday comes to get it. Holiday crossing in. Wambach sizing it up. Couldn't get anything on it. And Butt will carry forward. Perhaps one last chance on the break here for Australia. Katrina Gorey trying to send Devanna through, and it's too close to Solo. And 4 saves for Hope Solo in this first half, despite the 2-0 scoreline. It has not entirely been easy for the United States. Carly Lloyd in the 14th minute, adding the second. It was Lauren Holiday who opened it up just over 5 minutes into the game. And the U.S. goes into the break 2-0 to the good here on the beginning of this journey towards the 2015 World Cup. First of 3 friendlies in quick succession. They'll have New Zealand next week. Hope Solo with a very strong first half and her first action in about a month and a half. As the U.S. builds towards that match with Brazil in Orlando to close the year out. Plenty of work to do here, though, as Lisa Devanna testing and trying to do all she can, just unable to score in that first half. Let's go down to Kate now with Tom Sermani for today's Coach's Game Plan presented by Century 21. Kate?
Tom, what are your thoughts on the first half?
Probably a little bit mixed at the moment. Yeah, I thought we played some very good soccer, scored 2 terrific goals and looked very incisive in patches. But I think we've given the ball away in very dangerous areas, and with a team like Australia, with the pace that they have and the ability that they have, we need to be a little bit more careful in that department.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Well, Kate, more from you and from us to come, taking a wider look at this U.S. women's national team right now. 45 minutes down, 45 to go here in San Antonio, and our score, United States 2, Australia 0.
It was a place where he became a legend.
Back at the Alamo Dome in San Antonio for this international friendly. United States leading Australia 2-0 at the break. Kate Margraf is between the benches. Forces had a chance to catch up with Australia's head coach, Historin DeRose. What'd she tell you, Kate?
Well, she did tell me she was very happy about all the opportunities they created, and they want to continue to do that. But she was a bit disappointed in their defending, wants them to tighten up a little bit individually and collectively in the back.
Well, certainly it's a U.S. team that when they want to can flip the switch. And again, both games these teams played last fall, Australia led at one point. It was a 2-1 win for the U.S. and a 6-2 win for the U.S. in the others. Again, you see those 3 attacking players in front of Hope Solo, who's had a fine first half, a number of saves. Must be such a frightening proposition for any team to take on this group as Wambach, LaRue, and Alex Morgan starting together for the very first time. They'd only ever played together for 60 minutes in the last 2 years, as often one being the sub for the other. But 45 solid minutes from them, and yet neither factoring in the scoring. It was the two center midfielders, Lauren Holiday and Carly Lloyd, who have the goals against an Australia side which is very young, features 19-year-olds at either outside back position, but certainly would be encouraged so far. It was one of the things that DeRosa actually told us during the week. We asked her, you know, what would you be happy with in this game? And she said, obviously, yes, we'd love to get a good result, but really, if they just play with confidence, if we play the way we want to, and they have been able to do that so far. So for the U.S., how much will they try to flex their muscles here into the second half and perhaps make the scoreline look a little bit bigger ahead of matches next week with New Zealand? Lisa Devanna with those early opportunities, 3 of them forcing saves out of Hope Solo. And that battle on the outside with Crystal Dunn. That'll be fun to watch here in the second half. And as ever, there's every opportunity for this to be a preview of what might be to come in the summer of 2015 in Canada. Expect both these teams, obviously, to be at that World Cup. Let's see what's in store these second 45 minutes. United States in white, Australia in the yellow. We're back underway at the Alamo Dome. 2-0 to the U.S. The beginning of this journey towards the World Cup as the early ball comes in. There's any number of Americans around it. Wambach couldn't get full contact. Australia looked completely disorganized back there. And it's going to be out for a goal kick in the end. But a very hot opportunity that Abby Wambach couldn't convert on.
Number 5, Alloway, is putting her arm up, gesturing to the sideline linesman that was a bit offsides, but it doesn't matter. It was a sign that they hadn't quite tuned on yet, hadn't quite turned the switch back on, regained that focus. Starting, you don't want to start in the half giving up an opportunity like that.
Perhaps lucky that it's not 3-0. What gives that pass away is O'Reilly had cut in from the outside. Good step by Becky Sauerbrunn, the NWSL Defender of the Year for FC Kansas City. Carries it all the way forward for Wambach, whose layoff does not find Heather O'Reilly. Sauerbrunn again intercepts. There is Dunn. Now Lloyd. Knocked away. Helen Knight, and Australia will possess. Obviously, in these friendlies, you expect to see a lot of substitutions, but none at halftime. Just that one early switch for Australia in the first half with Samantha Kerr having to come on for Michelle Heyman. And there's Kerr on the ball there.
Well, for Australia, they're trying to figure out what their best starting lineup group. We're getting a picture of what we may see in the future. And they want to get these guys played in, get them experience against the best in the world so they can grow as much of a player by putting in this tough situation.
Up over the top for Catley, who's offside, the left back. One of the two 19-year-olds who debuted at the age of 15 for Melbourne Victory in the Australian W League. Again, both of these sets of players in kind of different places in their season. It's been 6 weeks off since the end of the NWSL year for many of the Americans and some of the Australians as well. Those that play in Australia are just about to begin their season, and of course a handful who play in Europe. Swagback brings it down for Alex Morgan, who gets it back from Lauren Holiday. Too far in front, and Tegan Allen comes through to knock it away. Kept in play there by Klingenberg. Allen, the defender, the 19-year-old doing well, drawing a foul. Klingenberg, one of those players based in Europe and Sweden with Teresa. 5 Americans on that team, and they just finished their season today. And it was interesting, Teresa, the Swedish side, matched up with Paris Saint-Germain in the UEFA Champions League. That's the team of Tobin Heath, as well as Lindsay Horan, who I remember reading actually turned down an opportunity to play at North Carolina to go started a professional career in France. It was Teresa prevailing over the two legs just this last week. And they're on now to the round of 16 in the Champions League. Last year it was Megan Rapinoe and Olympique Lyon getting to the final. Over the top for Wambach to chase, and it's cleared away by Alloway. In for Morgan. Back out for LaRue. LaRue crossing in, handed away by Alloway. Not well dealt with though. LaRue's touch can't find Morgan. Devanna weaving her way through midfield. Still Lisa Devanna running on. His options either side. Devanna wants this one herself. Lisa Devanna just over the bar.
She's coming up grimacing a little bit after that opportunity, but she brings the ball in. What I question is why Crystal Dunn stopped pressuring her and decides to recover to her spot. She takes a long touch to get it back onto her desired left foot, and then just her plant foot's a little bit too far away from the goal, causing her to lean back, and it sails up over the net. But if you have someone, you stay with them until someone else tells you to get off. And one of your center backs, in that case, Whitney Engen, who's playing left center back, says, okay, I got her. You shouldn't allow her to gain speed like that and run at your back line.
Devanna played for Sky Blue FC and NWSL this year, former Washington Freedom players. In a couple different countries around the world. Good battling there by the 19-year-old Gorey, or the 21-year-old rather. She plays it across and it's intercepted. One of a number of young players in this Australia side. Holkinghorn knocks that away from Wambach. There's Devanna once again. Dunn right on top of her. Crystal Dunn doing well there.
Good defending by Crystal Dunn. I love this matchup, and I love that she's so young, getting to play against a player of that quality. Because the World Cup's a year and a half from now. If you're able to face this quality now and learn from it and be exposed to it, you're going to be that much better the next time you face it.
Still in her senior year at North Carolina, and they're playing right now, the Tar Heels, against #1 ranked Virginia. It's a big game, although each team is missing a key player. Morgan Bryan, who's a junior at Virginia, is with this U.S. team as well. So turnabout perhaps is fair play from Tom Sermanni to bring in a couple of youngsters, partly because the U.S. is still working some players back in. Mentioned Heath and Rapinoe, both called into the camp, but both with domestic duties in France beforehand. Ball back off the chest for Heather O'Reilly. In fact, the Swedish contingent arriving a bit earlier than expected for their game midweek. O'Reilly, Holiday, O'Reilly chasing. Holkinghorn got away with that one. It was right through the legs of Heather O'Reilly. Sauerbrunn breaking that up. Lauren Holiday clipping it in towards Abby Wambach. Her looping header is just wide.
In the midfield, that is where they're having so much success. There's not enough pressure on them. They're allowed to pick up their head and pick out Abby Wambach in the air. Laura Alloway doing a good job battling, getting Abby Wambach a little bit enough off balance where she can't get as much power and accuracy on the head as she usually has.
There she is again, the reigning FIFA World Player of the Year, handing it off to Alex Morgan, who was also in the top 3 of the voting. The shot blocked. Lloyd picks it up. Lloyd cutting back around one, but then poked away, and it's a flag up for offside on Heather O'Reilly.
Hesrine DeRoos just stood up and told her entire midfield line and back line to stay closer together. And in that midfield, they're in a triangle, 2 low, 1 high. Right now, they're too spread out, which is the reason why number 12, Lloyd, Holiday, I'm not used to saying that, and Lloyd, number 11, are having so much time on the ball. Get them tighter, get them under a little bit more pressure. You can win the ball higher up the field.
Katrina Gorey way overhit. Trying to find the van on the outside.
Kate Gill and Lisa Devanna both showing signs of frustration with the delivery they've had as of late. Not to the feet or a little bit running out of bounds like that last one. They need to be more involved. They need to get touches on the ball. This is the most dangerous part of their team. They need to have an impact on this game, and they can get it by getting the ball to them.
You saw the supporters there making noise. They actually moved them. They were higher up behind the goal and got moved down to the corner at halftime as Carly Lloyd now running her way through. Pokes it out wide. O'Reilly trying to control it and can't do so. Cleared only as far as Crystal Dunn. Just looking down to your left, Kate. Looks like the U.S. preparing to bring on a couple of substitutions here in the next few minutes. Abby Wambach now on the ball, able to keep under the challenge from behind. Her shot is a comfortable save for Lydia Williams.
And it appears Rachel Bueller is getting her assignment on where she goes. I have to imagine it's going to be for Whitney Engen, who just flew in from Sweden 3 days ago. Maybe give her some fresh legs.
Kristen Press as well getting set to come on. Golden Boot winner in the Swedish League this year as Wambach was unable to lay it back for a teammate. Kerr all the way wide for Lisa DeVanna. Dunn again. Here's this matchup. DeVanna this time to touch the speed. Good defending. Becky Sauerbrunn sliding across to clear it in the stands.
Sauerbrunn and Dunn have not played together that often, so to get the spacing in between them right takes some time. Dunn gets beat with an excellent move by DeVanna, but Sauerbrunn times her run perfectly to pick it up and to be in better support than they had been in the first half.
Ellen Knight on the turn. But plays inside. That's Gorey there. Katrina Gorey shooting from distance, and Solo tracked it the whole way. It's well wide.
Katrina Gorey is having a very good game. We're saying her name in the attack just as much as Lisa DeVanna because she's been feeding it. But I like that she took that shot. Kate Gill wasn't too happy about it, either was Lisa DeVanna, but I like that she didn't have any pressure on the ball as she went up and took it. That's promising signs for a youngster moving forward.
O'Reilly trying to find Morgan. It'll find Morgan in the end, lays it back for Wambach. Her shot was blocked down. Good recovery defending there by Australia, and Lauren Alway, the player with the block in the end. Wins the header. Lloyd helps it on. Lloyd picks it up. Score of the second goal for the U.S. Trying to return for Abby Wambach, and that was a good idea. She gets there in time in the end. And Abby Wambach is goal 162 of her international career.
Whitney Engen wins the head ball over a much taller Kate Gill and a bunch of second balls, but they're able to set play from a wider position. Carly Lloyd picks her head up and plays it to the seam, not the person. And Lydia Williams didn't come out with enough conviction, did not command her box and get out there quick enough to put a snuff on it. And Abby Wambach, give her credit for continuing her run on the ball, which most goalkeepers would get, and it goes in the side of the net.
Now you see her reaction, and you can tell it's the former international. It looked like the Australia players thought that that was a dead opportunity.
They did. I think either they thought it was offsides, which it wasn't whistled, so you need to keep playing, or they thought Lydia Williams would attack that ball with a little bit more gusto than what she did.
Well, substitution for the U.S. after the goal. Rachel Bueller is on for Whitney Engen along the back line. Kristen Press is also on for Sydney Leroux. So their first ever start together, Leroux, Morgan, and Wambach almost doubling the total time they ever played together. 56 minutes in this game. Sauerbrunn just beyond the outstretched legs of Morgan. U.S. pressuring high up the field. Morgan able to knock it away from Kellen Knight. U.S. can't do anything with it. Wambach extends her own international record for goals. Solo under some pressure. Sauerbrunn just got that around DeVanna. Down up for Wambach. Gets it back but couldn't control it. Gorey sliding through. Controls her on. Holiday plays it on for DeVanna on the run. Has Gill in the center. Lisa DeVanna gets the cross away towards Gill, knocked down. Solo trying to scramble. Rachel Bueller involved for the first time and clears the other way.
Excellent defending from Rachel Bueller, able to push Kate Gill off her run and able to come up with the rebound, clear it out of danger.
U.S. charging forward. Almost set up there for a press for Lloyd, but a good step by Claire Polkinghorne to take it away. Again, Polkinghorne, the center back, who stayed up. Her pass intercepted by Klingenberg. Over the top, Morgan looking to get on the end of it as Wambach in the center. Morgan controls, forced to cut back now. Heather O'Reilly's wide open in the center. Morgan couldn't get a pass away. Still pressuring, though. It's a safe play by Elise Kellen-Knight, out for a U.S. throw.
But the recognition of Lauren Holiday to see the ball to go long was so smart. Polkinghorne from Australia had stepped up out of the back. They're in a 3-back, and there's a huge hole behind them. That's how she knows that's when to go. She knows that's when to play that through ball. Even though the United States is trying to diversify their attack, not be so direct, she knew the cues well enough because she's such a smart soccer player and has the technical ability to deliver that ball into the gap and create a dangerous opportunity.
Press was offside there after the throw-in. And Australia forced to start over again. There is Kristen Press, former Hermann Trophy winner, is the outstanding college player at Stanford, Golden Boot winner in Sweden. 40 goals in 41 matches in her 2 seasons playing in the Swedish league. Scoring for fun over there as it's clipped on, and Sauerbrunn forced to charge across and clear. Press has been good this year as well. 6 goals in 9 appearances for the United States. Put that in context for us. Those amount of goals in the Swedish league. How would that transfer playing at perhaps a higher level in NWSL? How good is Kristen Press right now?
She is very good in Sweden, but it's also a different style in Sweden. I don't think you can compare apple to apples because in Europe in general, they're tactically more organized. They're a bit stronger as individuals, and they just play a little bit slower tempo, but they have maybe a little bit better technique and a better tactical sense. The United States, it's a faster league 100% all the time. So you stick an American in Sweden who uses speed and technique as a way to beat defenses, she's going to score a lot of goals. It's something that probably the Swedish haven't seen on a consistent basis. I would love to see her in the NWSL. She made a great impact with Magic Jack in the WPS, and then she went over to Sweden. But she's a player that I think everyone wants to see more of because she is quality. She is in the group of 4 that I think that kind of have their names penciled in for the World Cup. The question is, how much time, or maybe should she start? And those are the questions that need to be answered.
Defend on the end of that long ball from the Australia back line. Again, Crystal Dunn matching her up 1v1, knocks it away. O'Reilly coming in to help clean it up. And one final point for Kristen Press. Impressive her volume of goals, given that she is the multiple-time FIFA World Player of the Year, Marta, on her team with her. As Lloyd gets that away for Press, but intercepted by Tegan Allen. It's going to be pulled back for a foul. And again, looking down to your left, Kate, looks like now the other college player, Morgan Bryan, is getting set to come on.
She is getting her cues from assistant coach Paul Rogers, telling her where to go on all set pieces. Here's a player that can connect things. This is the one player, I think every coach has 1 or 2 players that they bring in young and establish them so that they're ready for the future. And I have a feeling that Morgan Bryan may be that player in Tom Simarni's reign. And he just loves her quality. And everyone says she's very instinctual and she has the rhythm very similar to Lauren Cheney. And also watch for her the ability that she can put on the ball. She waits them perfectly.
Still going to be a minute before she gets in as the cross comes in. Just too tall for O'Reilly. It was Press who sent it in. There you see her. Morgan Bryan, again, she's the other half of this college duo whose teams are playing against one another. Bryan is a junior at #1 ranked Virginia. They're playing at #4 North Carolina right now. It's the team of Crystal Dunn. Bryan, who's already had a good week. 3 assists on Thursday in their 5-0 win over NC State, and she's about to be making her 3rd appearance for the U.S. national team.
And she took a test on Friday on the road. Student athlete.
Do you know what the subject was?
Kinesiology was something by
That's journalism.
chemistry.
Well done, Kate Margraf.
I have no idea what she was saying.
Good step there by Lloyd to take it away. The return from Wambach. Lloyd cutting around, but can't get all the way through. Wambach able to keep it in, though. There's Butt charging around and knocks it away. Dunn beating Devan into that ball. It's a chance for an attack. Lisa Devanna. Sauerbrunn. Good defending there in the middle of the park. O'Reilly. Too far in front of Wambach. Polkinghorn. Going to deal with it here. And ends up giving away a throw. And here comes the substitution. It'll be Lauren Holiday to make way. Her 21st international goal. Opening things up in the 6th minute. Coming off here for Morgan Bryan. All right, Kate, how is this going to change things up?
Well, I think you'll see Morgan Bryan stay more the attacking center mid, be closer to Wambach, press, and Morgan, and set play from there. She's really good at 1 and 2 touch, which makes it impossible to defend her. In her movement off the ball, she finds those gaps. I have to imagine that Carly Lloyd now will sit more as a defensive midfielder, and that goes forward as much as she was in the last 20 minutes.
Megan Klingenberg. Kirsten Press, teammates in Sweden, those two. Press driving the cross in, too close to Lydia Williams. There's Bryan's first touch, combining with Dunn, who helped the U.S. to that Under-20 World Cup victory last year. Sauerbrunn. Not shy to come forward from her center back position if the space is given to her. O'Reilly from Morgan. Couldn't hold it. Good about tracking back to take it away. And a good step by Rachel Bueller, who played for the Portland Thorns this year. Lloyd trying to bring it down. Tegan Allen, the 19-year-old, comes away with it. Australia now coming forward. Big separation at the 2 ends of the field. Lisa Devanna. Devanna crossing in, solo tracking as the catch. And Press now quickly forward, feeding it through Morgan, perhaps letting it go for Wambach, intercepted by Elway. Okay, we mentioned some of the players who aren't here. Christy Rampone still coming off the surgery. Tobin Heath and Megan Rapinoe still with duties with their clubs. Shannon Box as well, obviously a very well-known name, not with the group right now for some very good reasons, but an important opportunity, as you mentioned, maybe with Lloyd sitting back, to plan a bit for the future down the road without Shannon Box.
Well, I think every place on the field you have 2 or 3 deep. Players on this team that could start, that or maybe stay on the bench anywhere else in the world, except for defensive center mid.
Over the top for Tegan Allen, sending the cross in. It's going to be out for an Australia corner. And for Box, of course, that good reason she's not here is, well, she's got another kid on the way.
As Tom Shermani calls it, a self-inflicted injury.
That was the joke with us during the week, and they stop having children, please. Stephanie Cox is with this group for the first time since the birth of their first child in the spring. Out for Australia's 6th corner kick of the game. Katrina Gore, who's been so involved today for Australia. She'll take it from the far side. Wambach with a defensive header. Held in by Butt. Now Kellen Knight will clip it in. And it's too far for any of the targets.
As much as the United States is in starting the journey as they go to the World Cup, so is Australia. They have a new coach. So what they've concentrated on is their defense first, how to stay organized. And yes, Hesterine DeRoos is not happy 100% with their defenders right now and defensively as a whole. But the chemistry of attack comes later. That comes with time. You're beginning to see it as Australia's gotten tired. They're not connecting as much as they were because they haven't played together that much. That's one thing she wants to change, that they play together more often. And that's the only way they'll be able to improve enough to compete.
Lloyd knocks it away from Morgan. Inside for Abby Wambach, looking to control. Lost her balance, and Williams allowed to collect. Half-hearted appeal for a penalty waved away by referee Carrie Seitz. Kept in play by Kerr on the far side. I hear the shout from the bench of too much space. Well, there's space being closed down by Heather O'Reilly. Can't take Ketley off the ball, however. Australia down to your right, Kate. Perhaps thinking about a substitution here in a moment. They have a player getting some final instructions from one of the assistants.
It's Boston Breaker player Kaya Simon, who will be joining the W League team starting up soon. She plays for Boston, very fast, not Lisa Devanna fast, but her ability to turn on a dime is what makes her special. She can, even with full pressure, you better hit her hard because she's going to turn on you and she'll blow past you.
Carly Lloyd was fouled there behind the plate. Again, as is the case, as we've seen in the men's side with MLS affecting the fortunes of the CONCACAF teams, very much the case for a number of national teams with players like Australians coming into NWSL. As Morgan holds it up for Bryant. A rising tide lifting all boats, as it is in women's soccer with NWSL this season. Mueller over the top, offside, flag up. Alex Morgan, of course, scored a pretty big goal in U.S. history. Tends to get forgotten. We think about the 2011 World Cup for the sensational comeback against Brazil, getting to the final, lost in the sands at time a bit as well with the Olympic gold medal win. The U.S. was on the verge of maybe not even qualifying, had to go to a playoff against Italy, and it was Morgan's late goal in the first leg when she was still just breaking her way into the team that really paved the way for the U.S. to get there as Morgan takes it off the defender and saved by Lydia Williams.
Well, she makes plays like that. She's opportunistic, and she has incredible balance, so she's able to put herself in dangerous situations. And where most players fall down, she's able to keep her feet and get a powerful strike. I love how Lydia Williams for Australia kept her feet, kept her balance, didn't pick a side, and she was able to catch that ball and hold it on and rid themselves of danger.
Good work by Gore there to keep it under pressure from Bryant. Kerr on the outside, can't get a cross away. It's interesting, Australia looks all but set to make that substitution, and now they've hit the pause button down there at the bench, it looks like. And Samantha Kerr played for Western New York Flash, still just 20 years old. Gets it back in play, and is offside on the return ball. Kerr made her debut at 15 years of age for Australia. Part of the team that won the Asian Cup as a 16-year-old. In 2010. So when we say 20, it sounds like we're saying young, but really from an experience standpoint, has been around for a while.
Well, that's part of the Australian system, too. You have to remember, most teams in the world, the players don't make a ton of money where they don't have to work another job. The same with Australians.
Devanna chasing that flick on. Hope Little's going to be there in plenty of time. It was Gill starting that sequence.
So what they have to do is they have to source talent young, develop them, hope they can hold on to them for a couple World Cups. But when they hit mid-20s to late 20s, they kind of have to make a decision because they're probably working a job and playing on the side, having to deal with travel, logistics, and nightmare. And it's all that stuff off the field that starts to weigh on you. So they always have to generate a new crop.
O'Reilly chasing the ball from Lloyd. It was a bit off target, but Polkinghorn playing safe. Crystal Dunn. Alex Morgan. Carly Lloyd opening herself up in the middle of the park. And that was off target for Wambach, but she's fouled, though, and a free kick in a dangerous position here for the United States. As Lloyd's a little bit slow to get up.
I'm curious to see who's going to take this. Usually it's Carly Lloyd. If it was Tobin Heath, I'd hope that Tobin Heath would take it. She scored a cracker in the NWSL championship. So Lloyd can hit this from power. If she can keep it low, it'll be quite a difficult save for Lydia Williams to make. Or she'll look to do a little loop ball to either Wambach or Bueller.
It's a pretty good sized wall shot to get it around as well. And to say nothing of Williams, the goalkeeper, it will be Carly Lloyd, who has a goal and an assist today, who's over it. Just trying to blast it through the wall and couldn't quite do so.
With a wall that tall, it's really hard to get it up and down quick enough, so you kind of have to go.
Sauerbrunn back in, the looping header, tipped over the bar by Williams. Alex Morgan denied.
Well, there's that extension reach that Lydia Williams was telling us is one of her strengths. Excellent recognition to go with the long ball from Becky Sauerbund. Alex able to get her hips open and snap the ball towards goal, forcing Lydia Williams to just make a little tip save over. But again, man marking from the Australians. Get tight in the box, put an arm on them.
7th save of the day for Lydia Williams, giving the U.S. their 7th corner kick of the match. And Heather O'Reilly to take. Really driven in. Williams stays at home. Header straight up in the air by Gill. Lyon trying to keep it in. Get wide for Press. Press overhit. Walmart going to 162 goals in this match. And to give us some context, of course, Mia Hamm's record was 158. The men's international goal scoring record, Ali Daei of Iran, 109. The U.S. men's goal scoring record, 57 from Landon Donovan. More than 100 less than Abby Wambach. Now, apples and oranges there, obviously, but just to put in context, the incredible number of goals that Abby Wambach has scored for her country is done. Can't take it off of Lisa DeVanna. Playing up for Gill, not the best first touch, and Sauerbrunn in the end will clean it up.
You can't compare apple to oranges and all those stats and all those players. The thing about Abby Wambach that's special is everyone talks about her heading ability, but it's about her bravery to put herself in that situation in the first place. I haven't seen anyone like that since Michelle Akers on the women's side. And you don't see many of those players internationally. So that's the reason why, to me, she is an excellent player. People don't talk about her skill enough and her ability to read the game and time her runs, but it's that bravery in that moment as the reason why she's a game changer and has won so many important games for the United States with that ability.
And she was very clear, even last fall, in telling us at different times in their post-Olympics tour how important it is for her to win a World Cup in her career. She'll have that opportunity in 2015 in Canada. Morgan Bryan from Press can't combine with Morgan. But that amidst the storylines of that next Women's World Cup, Abby Wambach going for that elusive trophy will certainly be a big one, as Australia now will make a double substitution. Alana Kennedy will be coming on, the number 14. Replacing Lisa Alway, and Kaya Simon, as advertised, coming on as well. And it'll be Katie Gill making way for her. Couldn't quite control it. Australia not done for the year either. They've got a pair of matches coming up next month against China as they begin their preparations for the Asian Cup, the World Cup qualifiers in Vietnam in the spring. Play it down here in the middle of the park for Australia. It appears to be in a bit of pain as well.
Trainer, go ahead.
Trainer's immediately coming out. Obviously very concerning to see. Concern in the face of Estrian DeRoos, the Australia manager.
She stays pretty calm during the games. I've only seen her get up once or twice, and that's to tell her midfield and the back line to stay a bit more compact. But she's brought in a bunch of structure to the team. You talk to all the Australian players, and Tom Sermanni, who is now the United States coach, came from Australia, is a very free, open, and wants to coach that way. Players had to lead themselves, a lot of self-responsibility. With the Australians, Hesterine has brought in more a Dutch style where everyone knows their roles and structure both on and off the field. And this is a team in transition, but that structure they hope they can build from to be more successful the next World Cup campaign.
Well, it's Kaya Simon who just subbed on. She is the player that is down. A 22-year-old from the suburbs of Sydney, just signed on with Western Sydney Wanderers after playing for their new crosstown rival Sydney FC the last 4 W League seasons, and of course played for the Boston Breakers as well in NWSL this last summer. And you see how concerned everyone immediately was. And out for the stretcher. really seems to be in distress. The 22-year-old who was moments into her 41st international appearance.
She's just coming into the game, trying to put pressure on Morgan. And the foot just planted the wrong way.
Now, very disheartening to see that. It's going to be Emily Gilnick who's coming on to replace her. 21-year-old from Melbourne, but of Croatian heritage. Played for Liverpool recently, has also played in the W League, and again, the seasons are often so short and they're not overlapping. You can play for different teams and different leagues in a given year. So a bit of a pall cast on the afternoon there as we're back in play now. Crystal Dunn being harassed the whole way by Gorey. Australia would love to get something on the board before they're done here for all the opportunities they've created. It's Heather around to the other way with the defender falling down all the way across. That's out there trying to control it. Now gets under control, Kristen Press. Still Kristen Press to the byline, and a decision coming. It's going to be given us a goal kick. See Press, who became the first American to win the Swedish Golden Boot this year with her club Teresa, as it's announced that a crowd in excess of 19,000 here in San Antonio for the first visit by the U.S. women in a generation today. 10 minutes to go in this one. A hot start for the U.S. 2-0 up inside of 15 minutes from Holiday and Lloyd. Wambach extending her international record early in this second half, as that one's overhit for Morgan to chase. It looks to be a successful start on the way for the United States, beginning of this journey towards the World Cup, because the 6-week break that they've just had at the end of the NWSL season, they're not going to get that kind of a break again until sometime after the World Cup qualifiers, and by that point it's time to worry about the World Cup. As Samantha Kerr on the outside dueling with Klingenberg, who wins the battle. Showing off Megan Klingenberg as she gets it clear. Getting appreciation from the crowd.
As the game starts to evolve and teams are better organized, the one thing that every single team wants, including Australia and Tom Tamani, is competent players on the ball in outside back positions who are not only comfortable going forward, like we get to see Kaitley right here, not only going forward, but also being able to hold the ball in tight situations, have that poise to get out of it, and then the control to make a good pass following it.
Tegan Allen. Rolled forward for Gorey. Out wide for Kerr. The return. Knocked down. Gorey picks it up. Gorey cuts back to her right. Fires right to Hope Solo.
Gorey has been impressive all game long. To be honest, I expected Emily Van Egmond to start. So when I heard Gorey was starting, I was like, okay, I know she's been consistent in the W League, but she has made her impact known on this game. And I like that she feels comfortable taking shots, and Hope Solo did a good job holding on the ball, not giving up a rebound. Morgan
back for O'Reilly inside for the junior at Virginia. Bryan, her cross straight off the face of the defender. Australia hammer it away. It's going to be Gilnick who chases this. Work to be done for the U.S. back line. Sauerbrunn, just enough on it for Solo. Well, as much as easy for us, Kate, to think those World Cup qualifiers and the World Cup itself are an awful long way away, as Devanna takes it away from Dunn but can't connect the pass. Tom Sermanni making a big point to us. He wants to get his squad settled soon. He doesn't want to be having to make big team decisions in the months and weeks before the World Cup. So there really is actually a surprising amount of urgency around this U.S. team right now, it seems.
There is. Right now, he's casting the net really wide and has done so all year. And that'll start to funnel down as you get close to the World Cup. And ideally, over the next 6 to 8 months, he'll know the 21 to 24 players he really wants to focus and develop and see who can adapt and adopt his style of play, which is keep the ball on the ground and know when to attack and go direct and use the speed and the strength and the mentality of the United States to his advantage, but at the right moments.
Crystal Dunn, where might she figure into things?
I think her name's on the roster. I do. No matter whether or not she's going to start or not.
As Lloyd there couldn't combine, but a number of very young players breaking their way into such an established national team, reigning Olympic champions, finalists of the last World Cup. 2014 will be a big year. Everyone in World Cup qualifying and beginning the countdown to Canada. It's played inside. Vandenberg continuing her run, but had taken away by Gorey. Up for butt. Not enough on it. Sauerbrunn stepping up once again on the outside. Gorey. Lloyd closing her down that time. O'Reilly, who switched back to the left side, starting the attack. On back. Didn't do what she wanted with that one, but Bryan holds it in. Lloyd spins around, finds Bryan, slipping it through. O'Reilly couldn't get there before Polkinghorn. This ball kept in play, yes, by Alex Morgan. Dunn clipping it forward, intercepted though before Robbie Wambach found it. Early ball is offside. Well, Devanna chasing there, and she's been in that big battle all game. We've been watching her with Crystal Dunn, the senior at North Carolina, the 21-year-old. If this were a fight and you were a judge, how would you score it between those two today?
Well, I think it's been pretty even. And from the looks of it, you think Lisa Devanna may win the advantage. But a lot of this times it's because she's off sides. But the reason why she is beating Crystal Dunn when she isn't is because she is playing that line so closely. And she's making the referee have to make some pretty tough calls. But I think it's been a great experience for both of them. They're both going to improve against it because in the World Cup, you are not going to find a slow person. No longer can teams carry a starting 11 with passengers who have no speed. That just can't happen anymore. The game has evolved so much since when I played.
Not that you were a slow person, though.
Oh, thank God I had the speed because I did not have composure.
And credit to Dunn as well after those early chances for Devanna for keeping her cool and evening that battle up, in your opinion. As we're inside the final 5 minutes here. Long ball again for Devanna to chase. That time looked like she's onside. It was Bueller who couldn't step up fast enough. Devanna gets to the end of it, plays it off, Dunn out for an Australia throw. Well, the 28-year-old from Perth, all the way in Western Australia, one of the most isolated major cities really in the world. Catley throws it in. Like there, couldn't really do anything with it, and in fact, it's offside. Channel for Wambach off the chest. Polkinghorn defending. Pushes her back for O'Reilly. Dunn. Lloyd. Can open things up for press, and it was Allen who got in the way. Lower header, not finding the target. Good job by Kerr tracking back, but again, she's beaten to the ball. It's that for Australia throw. Well, Kate, having not seen much of Australia since the last time these two teams played in September of last year, what do you think of this young group? I mean, how much are they going to be something to think about in the World Cup in 2015?
You know, this is a young team with a bunch of new players that are getting some much-needed experience.
Morgan on the end of that block. Clearance, Morgan to the box, and Williams comfortable catch at the end as Morgan is staying down, as is the defender. Referee Carrie Sykes was behind the play looking at it. Will continue forward as Morgan's rolled over onto her back, but staying down. Polkinghorn was the defender. She got to her feet and was doubled back over. Again, Alex Morgan, who just returned from that sprained left knee suffered in the NWSL season, though insisted to us that she was completely healthy coming into this week. But certainly frustrated having taken a knock here.
The one thing I question with anyone coming back from injury is how brave are they going to be running at players and going into tackles. She's been playing back to her old self, which means that she's over psychologically and physically her injury. But right there, you just do not want to see her lying on the ground, being that she just came back but both players are shaken up. Polkinghorne laying out a tackle late, and Lydia Williams from Australia coming up with the save. Both coaches are up off their bench and do not want to see their players down.
Morgan helped to her feet by the training staff, though walking on her own power now. Let's take a look back and listen in. Standing ovation as Morgan comes back out. Well, a minute plus stoppage time in this one. As Bueller and Sauerbrunn combine to deal with that long ball. Lloyd playing long press, a foot race with the sideline that she wins. Alamo defender. Kirsten Press cuts to her left to the byline, sends it in. Abby Wambach trying to go back to where Williams came from, but put it wide.
Kristen Press is normally a front runner, so sometimes it's hard to shift out wide and stay wide and create opportunities from wide position. She beats the player, the quick little stutter step and momentum, and serves an excellent ball into Abby Wambach, who unfortunately is just body is faced a little bit too wide, forcing the ball to go wide. But excellent ball in, far enough away from the keeper, driven, so all Abby has to do is redirect it.
3 minutes of stoppage time, we understand, from downstairs left in this one. As Lloyd controls the clearance from Williams. O'Reilly knocks it down, but Polkinghorne clears it away. Confirmation there indeed. As Gorey weaves her way through the middle. Up for Gielnick. Good tackle there. Sauerbrunn once again, the NWSL Defender of the Year, showing why she won that award. She knocks it away, and now Kristen Press for the United States. Good step by Tegan Allen to take it away. Savannah riding that line as the ball comes through. Sauerbrunn knocks it down. Morgan Bryan, the only player there. Lloyd now has runners. Too far for any of them, though. And this will be the beginning of 3 matches in just about a week. The U.S. will play New Zealand twice in the next couple of days in this little mini camp. They'll finish out 2013 next month in Orlando against Brazil, number 4 in the FIFA rankings. Former World Cup winners, of course. That should be a sensational way to end. It's been a much quieter 2013 than 2012 for the U.S. national team. Morgan from Lloyd. Morgan back to her right. Still Alex Morgan. Finally it peters out. Certainly a good sign to see her that sprightly after taking the knock a few minutes ago. Bryan is muscled out for that ball, but it's going to be a foul. Well, Bryan and Dunn at the end of this, we'll see what their college teams did as they played against one another today. See who has bragging rights going forward. Both were pulled in to help for this game today as some of the U.S. players called in, make their way in from Europe. O'Reilly creating space for the cross. Morgan lets it go on the doorstep. Kristen Press. Exclamation point to the day for the United States.
Well, this goal had everything. Start from a wide spot. And Heather O'Reilly isn't usually on the right, but she's on the left now. Does her patent move. But this is why this goal works. This is because Alex Morgan adds a bit of deception, does a dummy, and Crystal Press puts it outside of the foot over Lydia Williams. But that right there is the reason why that goal was scored. That unselfish play by Morgan. And the composure of Kristen Press to know she didn't have that much time on it, but just hit it with the outside her foot. And that's a quick reaction save for Lydia Williams, but that reaction save would have been milliseconds and just wasn't able to get something on it.
Kristen Press, career goal-scoring leader at Stanford, Golden Boot winner in the Swedish League this year. And for her now, 7 goals in 10 matches with the United States, all coming in this calendar year as the cross comes in straight to Hope Solo. Solo with 5 saves today, 3 big ones early on when Australia were beating on the door, but they couldn't knock it down. And the U.S. begins this journey to the 2015 World Cup with a 4-0 victory over Australia. The crowd of 19,000 plus really letting him hear it, the U.S. Womack adding a goal to her international record. Carly Lloyd, a goal and an assist on the day. Hope Solo, her 67th clean sheet in the nets for the U.S. national team. A lot of things going very right for this U.S. team in their first match out of a month-and-a-half break following the end of the NWSL season. Well, back to 162 of her career. Morgan didn't get a goal, but did play a part in the finale, dumping that ball on for Kristen Press right at the end. And good to see her bounce right back up from taking that knock. Good performance from Crystal Dunn today. Just her 8th international appearance. The senior at North Carolina was in a real battle all game with Lisa Devanna. Certainly gained a lot in experience and knowledge in those 90 minutes. Carly Lloyd is standing by downstairs with our Kate Margraf. Kate?
So, Carly, tell us your thoughts on the game today.
You know, I thought we executed the plan well. We knew that we wanted to high press them in their end, win it in their end, and then we'd be closer to goal. So some fantastic goals, players coming in off the bench. Everybody did well. We had some good spurts, you know, and there's obviously some things that we can still work on as well.
Walk us through the lead up to your goal.
You know, with the role that I'm playing now, it is, you know, typically a holding mid-roll. But I still have opportunities and chances to kind of get myself in and around the box and wait for those balls to come out. And that's what happened. It was a cross, a ricochet, and just made sure that, you know, I got a good clean touch on it and hit it pretty well.
All right, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Kate, a good start to this mini camp for the United States. More to come here from San Antonio as this one finishes United States 4, Australia 0.
What drives us to redefine the way we watch TV is what drives us to broadcast the world's biggest events in 3D. Or live to your seat high above the Atlantic Ocean. It's what drives us to create eco-friendly racetracks, batteries that power tomorrow's cars, nearly indestructible laptops, and the sustainable smart towns of the future. At Panasonic, we're driven to make what matters most better. Just another way we're engineering a better world for you.
The Scion FRS has a 200 horsepower boxer engine and rear-wheel drive. It comes with a Scion Service Boost no-cost maintenance plan, good for 2 years or 25,000 miles. Plus, it has an available 6-speed automatic transmission with paddle shifters and dynamic rev management. It leaves everyone else in the dust.
We won. We won. Is there a Century 21 agent in the house?
I'm a Century 21 agent.
We need your help. We can finally afford a nicer home.
I can help with that.
I'm thinking something with an updated kitchen, walk-in closets.
And a 3-car garage.
No problem.
Stay calm. There's a Century 21 agent in the house. Smarter, bolder, faster.
Oh, you're a lifesaver.
Both Maxwell and Ted have hail damage to their cars. Ted is trying to get a hold of his insurance agent. Maxwell is not. He's on Geico.com setting up an appointment with an adjuster. Ted is now on hold with his insurance company. Maxwell is not and just confirmed a 5:30 time for Tuesday. Ted is still waiting.
Yes.
Maxwell is out and about, but Ted's now ex-girlfriend.
Later, Ted!
Online claims appointments, just a click away on Geico.com.
What you have have inside your phone says a lot about you. It's time the outside does too. Only AT&T lets you customize a Moto X that's designed by you. Choose colors, accents, and much more. Get it now for $0 down, only at AT&T.
You test drove it. You bargained for it. And now you care for it every single day. When you drive, it protects you. It transports you in style. The only thing that lies between you and the road are your tires. Continental Tire. Innovative technology. Driving confidence.
This town and this team means so much to me. It truly has been an honor to play in Indianapolis.
Tonight, Peyton Manning returns to Indianapolis for the first time as a Bronco to take on a rising star writing his own story in Indy. Sunday night is football night, only on NBC.
That's what I did.
A triumphant trip to San Antonio for the U.S. national team as they defeat Australia. Final score is 4-0, and here's how it all went down here at the Alamo Dome. And Australia had the first big chance of the game when Lisa DeVanna got free and was staring down Hope Solo.
Yeah, the United States a little bit out of position defensively. Crystal Dunn tucked too far in, cannot give that amount of space to Lisa DeVanna. Hope Solo coming up big with an extension save, blocking it wide of goal. And the United States coming up off a set piece. Look at no one is marking Lauren Holiday. She readjusts her feet, gets control and balance, catches the ball on the way down and keeps it low, but is aided by a bit of deflection.
Just a few minutes later, it was like deja vu for USA. This time it's Carly Lloyd sizing up a volley.
And I feel like this is the bread and butter of Carly Lloyd. Those bouncing balls, which most people will skyrocket, she's able to adjust and hit it just perfectly in the center of the ball.
Again, though, Australia had chances, and Lisa DeVanna was all over.
She is so dangerous to contain because of the speed. You can't defend that. Even Crystal Dunn, the fastest player on the team right now for the United States, couldn't stop it. Hope Solo able to block it and push it out of bounds.
So a clean sheet going into halftime for USA, up 2-0. And in the second half, Abby Wambach does what she does, and that's get on the board.
Well, she does. She's able to pick out the space, but you have to give credit to Carly Lloyd to have the patience to realize she had nobody wide. So where is the space? The space is outside the left center back for Australia. She dumps it in a well-weighted ball, but the question is, why wasn't Lydia Williams coming out harder and charging that ball, snuffing it out of danger? Even the Australian backline stopped running because they did not think it was a dangerous ball.
So many attacking options on this U.S. team. Add another one to the list. If you don't know the name, you should get to know Kristen Press.
Absolutely. I think they call it Presteria at some point, but here she is. She times her run. Alex Morgan unselfishly dummies the ball, comes through, and Kristen Press does what she does best, puts away the opportunity she's given.
And that'll do it for the scoring. 4-0, the win for USA. And there are a lot of fans sitting in front of us here at the Alamo Dome. The big reason for that is probably the appearance of Hope Solo on set with us. Hope, congratulations on the victory and the clean sheet. What did this game show you about your team? It's been a while since the national team got together. How do you think the team did?
You know, it has been a while. We came off long NWSL season, and it feels like this is the start of going into 2014 for qualifying and then on to 2015. Right now, there's a different focus amongst the team. We are playing with more intensity, more energy, and we want to start building. Before these last couple games, we played a lot of players. We got experience, but now it's time to build off of that and really make sure we have the best team on the field for qualifying.
When you talk about building, what type of building are you hoping to accomplish over the next 3 weeks in the 4 games that you have coming up?
Well, personally, I want to build our defense. This is the first time in a long time that I have so much excitement in our defense. It gives me excitement because they play both sides of the ball, not just great at defending, but you see them getting down the line. You see Megan Klingenberg and, you know, obviously Crystal Dunn getting in to the box, throwing in crosses. We're playing both sides of the ball, and it's exciting soccer, and that's the kind of defense that I want to have moving forward.
So many options up front. How important is it for you to get involved vocally with your defenders, which could be switching around a lot as they try to jockey for positioning?
That's funny. You know, at breakfast today, somebody said, "Do you get bored back there?" Actually, it was my good friend Carly Lloyd. I think I burned a hole inside of her with my eyes because I have to stay focused and I have to stay involved for 90 minutes of the game. Otherwise, my positioning's off. Otherwise, I'm not putting defenders in the right place. For me, it's a mental game. It's like a golf. We compared it to golfers. You have to stay focused mentally for 90 minutes, and it's exhausting, even if I don't make any saves.
Hope, congratulations on the win. Well done with the clean sheet. USA defeats Australia 4-0. We'll be back to wrap things up from San Antonio next.
I'm your tailgate grill. Your buddy was in such a rush to get into the game, he didn't quite put me out. I see you bought the industrial-sized bottle of lighter fluid. Smart. And if you got cut rate insurance, you could be paying for this yourself. So get an Allstate agent and be better protected from mayhem. Like me.
Mayhem is everywhere. Are you in good hands?
What investment manager distributes more than 40% of its profits to fight diseases like cancer? American Century Investments. Profits with a purpose. Visit americancentury.com/purpose to learn more.
The Volkswagen Sign Then Drive sales event is back, which means it's never been easier to get a new Passat. Awarded J.D. Power's most appealing midsize car 2 years in a row. And right now, you can drive one home for practically just your signature. Get zero do-it signing, zero down, zero deposit, and zero first month's payment on any new 2014 Volkswagen. Hurry, this offer ends October 31st. For details, visit VWDealer.com today.
Degree Antiperspirant does more for you, so you can do more. Only Degree has motion sense, activated by your movement. The more you move, the more it protects. Do more. Degree, it won't let you down.
Go to degreefootball.com for your chance to win the ultimate football fan trip to New York.
What investment manager distributes more than 40% of its profits to fight diseases like cancer? American Century Investments. Profits with a purpose. Visit americancentury.com/purpose to learn more.
Start up like this, or like this, and hit the start button to flip back and forth. You can make the important things big, keep the small stuff small, and arrange it all around you. You can be all work with Office, all play, or even both at the same time. You can do it all simpler and easier on your Windows tablet, PC, or Surface. That's the new Windows. One experience for everything in your life.
Tuesday. You gotta stay strong. A change is coming.
51 is worth saving. It's your leadership we're unhappy with.
That will shake the firehouse to its foundation. I love 51. I'll do whatever it takes to save it. We gotta be really careful.
He's crashing.
I'm coming from you guys.
This is your house. Defend it.
NBC's Chicago Fire, Tuesday 10/9 Central. If you missed this week's episode, watch it on demand.
You make me train long.
Cross to the back post. There's the moment. Abby Wambach.
You make me try harder. You make me dream bigger. And when something's in my way, you make me push through it.
Singular move for the United States. Still Alex Morgan. Lloyd kills it around the wall and into the back of the net.
You make me see the person I want to be.
Starting this week, NBC Fridays are going to be bloody good. Jonathan Rhys-Meyers stars as Dracula, and it premieres Friday after Grimm here on NBC. Well, goals from Holiday, Lloyd, Wambach, and Press. The USA defeats Australia 4-0 here at the Alamo Dome in San Antonio. And coming up next, the countdown to Sochi continues. Olympic hopeful Ashley Wagner joins the Olympic medalist Davison White in the ISU Grand Prix of Figure Skating Skate America next on NBC. For John Strong and Kate Markgraf, I'm Russ Thaler saying so long from San Antonio. USA 4, Australia 0.
January 6th on NBC.
The new healthcare law is here. How will you choose your insurance? Let's start with what matters most to you, your family, and coverage that helps keep them safe. You'll also want a company you can trust and something you can afford, right? When you connect the dots, it only makes sense to choose Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Texas. We're on the marketplace where federal assistance may be available for you. Not all insurance companies will offer products on the marketplace. Enroll online or call 1-800-488-1000. Beginning in 2014, you cannot be denied coverage for health reasons. We're right here in your community, and for 3 years in a row, earned J.D. Power & Associates' highest member satisfaction ranking. Now, you can have the healthcare coverage you've always wanted. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Texas. Through it all. Go online now or call us at 1-800-488-1000. Our associates are standing by to guide you.